It is March 15th, 2024. We have reached the midway stretch of March, the Ides of March, as it were, on Litter Media Live. Those of you watching on Facebook, as well on YouTube a little bit later today, and listening live here on Litter Media Radio. I'm Dan Ramey with the icon Mike Smith and the young guy. I got chastised for calling him the upstart the other day.
Upstart.
Speaking of Aaron Glandon, our producer.
Did his mother send you hate mail or something?
No, it was your initial reaction. That's all I needed to have when you said, "Hey,
upstart."
Yes. And he did take that bottle of wine home from what I understand. So, yeah.
Let's just say he's going to use it as cooking wine, right?
Yes.
Okay, we'll see if he's cooked later. But at any rate, let's get right to what we're looking at for today. We had a whale of storm activity last night rolling across Ohio, most of it to the north of us. But we had some rumbles going on here. We had hail at the Ramey Ranch last night.
Yeah, folks over in Indian Lake, there's a letter or a post from the Indian Lake Chamber of Commerce on the left, basically giving an update early this morning on where they are right now. Unfortunately, we won't give you a number simply because they expect that number to go up. But as of this morning, there were a few people that had lost their lives in that storm. On the right, the image, which comes from the National Weather Service, that's the actual tornado warning that involved. Russell's Point is right there next to Indian Lake. I've never been up there, but that is an ODNR state park. And the ODNR also put out a note this morning that the park is closed today. The lake is closed until they can assess all the damage there. But I wanted to draw attention to the National Weather Service Twitter post. When those storms come into our area, which means contiguous counties to where we're located, we always repost those. And Dan and I have for years urged people to have different ways to get information in light of the severe weather. One of our new slogans here is beneficial news you can use. Well, I can't think of anything more beneficial than protecting your lives. So I was telling Aaron earlier, I've had a national, a NOAA weather radio for years. Well, for some reason last night, it was saying no message. Now, I know that they've had some of the translator stations down of late, so I don't know whether it's back up, and if it was, whether my radio is just not reading it or what. But the point being, you got to have multiple sources, and the National Weather Service does a tremendous job, not only on Twitter or X, but on Facebook. And when we see those things coming into our area, we just repost it. And you say, well, why do it that way? Well, we would just assume you go to the National Weather Service, but even though we see it, unless we repost it, you can't see it unless you're following them.
Right.
So that's just another way that you can protect yourself out there during severe weather. Fortunately for us, when that system came this far south, the tornadic activity diminished, but we did have some severe thunderstorm warnings that did go out in our area.
And we'll still, despite the fact we have internet radio now, we will still remind you have to have a radio.
Sure.
Because that's where our roots are, first of all.
Yeah.
But second of all, there's just no other way to get information when the power goes out. So if you've got a battery-operated radio, and providing that those radio stations are on the air, you'll be able to search through and find necessary information. And let's be honest, the reason that a TV station is on, the reason a radio station is on, is for in such case of an emergency. Right. And that's to get that information out, and everything else falls by the wayside. I'm sorry if you missed the rest of Jeopardy and how all that went. The great thing about streaming today is you can stream that information as long as you have internet service, but you also can go back and watch it later at another time. So getting that information out was very prudent for the stations to do on TV as well as radio and things of that sort. Again, if you don't have internet service, then whatever streaming that you use for anything, even this program, we wouldn't be able to provide to you.
Well, one of the ladies that they were interviewing on the TV news last night from Indian Lake, she said, we were watching your TV station, but when the power went out, we didn't see anything more.
Right.
They went in the basement, and she said, a lot of the information you're telling me about that happened in my own community, I don't know it because I couldn't watch you. So that's where, again, the radio and internet and all that stuff comes together to give you somewhat of a backup.
Precisely. So is today going to be as active?
Well, no. Thank the Lord. We'll have seen some on and off showers this morning, but we're expecting the rain to clear out this afternoon. It'll be a little cooler today with temperatures in the mid-50s for a high. Sunshine comes back tomorrow with a high of 62. Then we go back down to 52 on Sunday. Monday, a high of 40, and they're talking about snow. But maybe just like snow flurries.
You know, we talked the other day about the forsythia bush, and what was it, 3 snows after you first see it bloom?
So this will be 2.
And I had said at the time, I couldn't remember seeing a forsythia bush. And now I've seen like 15 or 20. Yeah. They just seem to pop out everywhere at me now. It's almost like, hi, you didn't notice this, but we're here.
We're here.
Just to remind you. And I'm happy to see everything starting to blossom. And I know allergy season's going to be rough on people, but I just like seeing it when the leaves start to come out and all the blossoms and everything too. It's fun going through Yaktangi Park with all those flowered trees and things, in Chillicothe or Rising Park up in Lancaster. All right, coming up in a moment, we'll get you caught up to date on what's making news for us today. Also, a look at sports. This date in history, the Litter Media Wayback Machine goes to...
we're going way back. 44 BC.
Holy cow. Let's hope we don't get stuck there. And we want to take a moment to welcome a new sponsor, Haynes Total Healthcare Center. Dr. Brandon has been my chiropractor most of my life. His dad was my chiropractor. And so Dr. Jeffrey Haynes still involved. I think he's like an emeritus or something. And every once in a while probably comes in and helps out. But they were established in 1974. And in fact, when I was having our meeting about them joining us as a sponsor, I said, you know, your dad and I go way back. And Brandon was surprised because he didn't know that we went way back. He said, when I first came to Chillicothe, one of my early assignments was to interview your dad because he was the chiropractic physician for Team USA in karate.
Wow.
And so it goes way back. But and my wife, full disclosure, also spent, I believe, 7 years working for Haynes.
That's great.
Back in the day as well. So Haynes Chiropractic, Physical Therapy, and Nutrition, they are in their 50th year. Thank you for joining us here on Litter Media. And we'll tell you more about them, and you'll be hearing more about them in the coming days. Scioto Valley Dumpsters, I tell you, if you have a storm like what we had last night, and maybe you've got debris to pick up, you need a dumpster to help you out in doing that. And in some instances, Scioto Valley Dumpsters can help with the cleanup and even demolition work. 740-253-8389 for Scioto Valley Dumpsters. News is next.
This is Andy Tomlinson. When ensuring what's important to you, our agents are there when you need us the most. Tomlinson Insurance, for the best coverage at the best cost. Visit us online at tomlinsonins.com to learn more.
Each week, Litter Media presents the Neil Coleman Insurance Wyandotte Mutual Player of the Week. If you have an athlete to nominate, any amateur athlete is eligible. Simply visit littermedia.com and click on Player of the Week. At the end of the year, we'll announce the Player of the Year. Make your nominations now at littermedia.com. Click on Player of the Week.
At Rathkamp Financial, we act as your advocate in all wealth matters. We believe in long-term relationships and working to earn your continued trust with our customized investment solutions. Our greatest satisfaction comes from working with clients for many years and helping them realize their dreams.
Are you looking for a beer that satisfies your thirst and love of country? Armed Forces Brewing Company brews beer for patriots. Celebrate freedom with every sip. Armed Forces Brewing Company. Freedom never tasted so good. Time now for news. Of course, you can find a lot of this news that we're going to share with you on our website, which is littermedia.com. And we invite you to follow us here on Facebook. And if you're watching now, you probably already are following us. But we encourage you to also check out Litter Media X, formerly known as Twitter, and our YouTube channel. Subscribe to that. It's free.
Every year that I've been here, we've done this story, and we get a lot of social media response off of it. Pickaway County is gearing up once again to participate in the Sandhill Crane Survey led by the Ohio Bird Conservation Initiative in partnership with the Midwest Crane Count. Now, they're still looking for more volunteers to help with the Citizen Scientist Project. The survey is scheduled for April 13th in the morning. That's 6:30 to 8:30 a.m., and they're seeking 1 to 2 dedicated volunteers for each of the designated 10 to 20 survey blocks across Pickaway County. Now, there are more than a dozen counties that are doing this, but Pickaway is the only one in our immediate area that does this each year. Not to say that other counties, if they're interested, couldn't be added to that list, but Pickaway County is on the list.
Your wife has enjoyed viewing the sandhill crane over the years. Does the sandhill crane make a noise?
You know, if they do, I've not heard it. But I did ask her last night. I said, "Are you interested in volunteering?" And she says, "How do I sign up?" So you may see her out there counting birds along Canal Road before you know it.
I've seen them at Lake White and Waverly. When I was in broadcast school, I was driving up 23, taking 270 to 71 and going on up to Cleveland Avenue where the school was. So we're talking back in 1980, and where the river comes underneath I-270 there, it's pretty shallow. And I have seen sandhill cranes standing right there in the water. And it caught my eye one day. I'm like, wow, I didn't know that they, first of all, I didn't know it was that shallow. And so it must have been a sandbar there or something.
They're taller than what you think they are.
They are. Speaking of taller, today I had to run over to Piketon, so I'm driving south of my home there on Morgan's Fork Road. And as I'm coming south of Pike Lake, I spotted a bald eagle standing in the middle of the field out there. And I didn't have my camera with me. I didn't have the zoom lens to be able to get a good look at it. But it looked like it stood about 2.5 feet tall.
Yeah, they got a great wingspan.
They really are. And I stopped my car in fearful, a log truck coming through or whatever while I'm bird watching. But I was waiting to see it take off because, I wanted to see that wingspan open up. But that's the first bald eagle I have seen in Pike County.
How about that?
So they are. So you must have been fishing over at Pike Lake and decided to go over towards Morgan Forks Creek. So. Is everybody happy? That's a slogan used up in Circleville many years ago and all across the world for the entertainment of one Ted Lewis. And you can hear the sounds of the Circleville native and world-renowned entertainer in the 1920s in Runnin' Wild. That's coming up May 17th to the Pickaway Agriculture and Event Center. It is free admission.
The J216 Ministry will be doing some small test run delivery teams starting next week. Now, they hope to start services the first week of April. The hours of operation start out on Tuesday from 9 to 11:30 a.m. They'll have team deliveries on Wednesday, then Saturday, 8 a.m. to 11:30. All services will be by appointment only. Now, their location is 208 East Main Street in Bainbridge. Now, they have, in a few days, it's not ready yet, but they hope to have a new answering machine and phone up working. So write this down, 740-634-0023. That's 740-634-0023. That will be their new number for setting up those appointments.
Happy to hear that they're back at it. I've got a couple in our church who are part of their delivery teams, and I know they've probably been looking for something to do and grateful to hear that they're able to get back up into their services again. The Oak Hill Festival of Flags entertainment stage is going to be busy. Saturday, May 25th. Jimmy Mowry, who you see there on the right, along with North Carolina's Landon Dunn and Pennsylvania's Aubrey Ray, join forces to create an unstoppable musical pairing. Landon, with her roots in Nashville, and Aubrey, an American Idol alum. They are set to perform their debut single, Bury Me on Broadway. Not sure if I want to be buried on Broadway. But Jimmy Mowry from season 16 of The Voice will also perform. He was at the Majestic Theater last weekend, I believe, and will also be performing. Jimmy grew up in Altoona, PA, and finished in the top 24 in season 16 of The Voice. Mm-hmm. And worked with Adam Levine, Charlie Puth, and John Legend on the show.
Not bad company.
Those are big names, yeah.
As far as talent. Tickets are available now to see the Chillicothe Civic Theater production of Sweeney Todd. Don't be left without a seat for the April 11th through 21st run at the Chillicothe Civic Theater. Tickets are available at cctoh.booktix.com.
I saw this yesterday on our Facebook page, and I saw the picture first, the image, and said meat pies. And I said, this is great for Pie Day. And then I read what it said up in the post itself, and I thought, well done. Nice job. Ohio Christian University, April 12th and 13th at OCU Theater, presents The Phantom of the Opera. You can reserve seats at ohiochristian.edu/phantom.
And I'm assuming that'll be at the Maxwell Center.
Well, it says OCU Theater presents, but it doesn't really say where it's going to be.
Yeah, I have a feeling that's where they do their shows.
Now, the Maxwell Center, is that the same as where they have the where the Columbus Symphony Orchestra played? I thought there was a different name for that.
Because when I went up there to see Darryl Strawberry, that was like a big theater, and it had a stage and all that. So I'm assuming that's the same.
I was thinking it had a different name, though. I have to look that up.
Yeah. Or make a field trip someday. Here's this. And
better yet,
that.
Right?
Yeah.
Another reason to go to Circleville.
That's right.
All right. This is where you take over today.
Ah, yes. Your trusted comfort advisor. Accurate Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing. And full disclosure, they were out there recently putting in a new compressor for us and came back to do some finishing up work just yesterday. They got it done to our satisfaction. And that's
good.
what any customer wants. That's what you call service, folks. Accurate Heating, Cooling.
Keep Mama happy.
Next is sports.
Find a career you love with Pickaway Ross Adult Education. Skilled trades careers are in high demand with no signs of slowing down. Pickaway Ross offers career training programs with expert instructors and hands-on learning tactics to create a variety of opportunities. Visit our website for more information.
I was looking for a first job. I had been babysitting and decided it was something for a little more permanent. It pays very well. It's convenient. You can make your own schedule with the flexibility. That's something that I like. The people that I work with are great. I wouldn't ask for a better crew or management team to work for.
Time now for sports, and we have high school activities that are still taking the center stage, and for the Final Four, for a final time for some of these kids.
Yeah, we had 3 Southeast District girls basketball teams that are in the Final Four this week. Well, one advanced yesterday. That was in Division 4. Waterford beat Loudonville 41-32, so Waterford will play tomorrow, Saturday morning at 10:45 against Fort Loramie in the state championship game. I think this is Waterford's 7th trip to the Final Four in the last 10 years.
Yeah, they've been cranking.
Not too bad. The news was not so good last night for the Lady Trojans of Portsmouth. They lost to Ottawa Glandorf 47-40. Aphocentric hammered Keystone 62-35, so Aphocentric and Ottawa Glandorf, they will play in the D3 finals tomorrow. Now, in boys basketball last night, D2, and this was a thriller, Maysville beat Bishop Hartley 50-49 on a last-second shot. The kid that shot it from the right wing was double covered. He banked it in for the win. Now, the lone boys Southeast District team that's still in the hunt is the Warren Warriors. and they beat Dresden Tri-Valley last night fairly handily, 65-49. So Warren will play Maysville tomorrow evening at the Convo for a trip to the Final Four.
One of my favorite T-shirts was, I believe, the year after Chillicothe had won the state championship. So we're talking 2009. I believe Warren went back, played in the state championship game, and lost to a Catholic school. And the T-shirts that came out was, "We're the number one public school in Division II."
Yeah, really.
So, yeah, congratulations to Blaine Maddox and his team getting there. OHSAA Girls State Basketball Division II semifinals at UD Arena today. Fairland, we're all Fairland fans now, including the mom that was clapping every time the girls had the ball. Boy, that really got on my nerves at Southeastern. They play Shaker Heights Laurel today at 11, which is already underway, followed by Copley and Cincinnati Purcell Marion at 1 p.m., and the D1 state semifinals are tonight. Boys D4 regional finals at OU has South Webster Go Jeeps up against Berlin Highland at 7 p.m. D2 and D3 regional finals are tomorrow over at OU. And currently,
Fairland leads 16-15 after the first quarter.
Okay, thank you. Mike's showing me this on his phone, and it's smaller than I'm prepared to read.
All right, very good. And South Webster, of course, along with Warren, would be the last of the Southeast District boys teams. Of course, a different division.
Go Bucks.
Oh, my gosh, that was almost perfect. And we didn't even plan that. Ohio State, a winner over Iowa, 90-78. So they move on to the next round today, or was it this evening? They play Illinois.
6:30.
6:30 tonight.
Yeah.
And if they win there, they move on to Saturday's semifinal. Some of the experts think they need one more win to get that NCAA. Of course, if they win the whole Big Ten tournament, that's an automatic.
You're automatically in, yeah.
So congratulations. And congratulations to the OU men's Bobcat team. They beat Western Michigan 82-55 in the MAC tournament. They're in the semifinals of the MAC tournament. So good luck to the Bobcats.
OU. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
By the way, did you see where Chris Holtman has new employment?
New job,
DePaul University. So
6-year contract.
I wish him well. He's a good guy.
Yeah.
Waverly City Schools has something new for you, and I mentioned I was coming through Pike County today, so I made my stop there at the Waverly Radiger Field, and there you see a new scoreboard dedicated to John K. Schmidt and Carl A. Schmidt. And this family has been involved with Waverly City Schools forever, it seems. As Bo Arnett told me that Carl Schmidt, who was the owner of Schmidt's Dairy and Restaurant, he provided milk to the schools. He was also a right-hand man to Coach Carol Hallhe. And, of course, John Schmidt, his son, became an insurance agent, but he worked there at Schmidt's Dairy and Restaurant as well. Not only that, but he played on the undefeated Waverly Tiger football team in 1969.
69.
And was a 1971 graduate. Of course, his son, JP, is still involved with sponsoring Waverly Athletics. And I will tell you, today was drywall day for the new band building.
Oh.
And the band building is going to be fantastic. It looks like it's about 40 feet tall at its pinnacle. And they were putting these large sheets, Clinker's Lumber was there, and they had a kid with a forklift, and he was putting these long, they were like, gosh, they looked like they were 15-foot long sheets of drywall that they were putting in there. So I didn't bother them for a tour of the building because it was wet, it was rainy, I was running behind, I wanted to get here in time, and I'm excited for the Waverly Marching Band.
And you didn't want to get run over by the forklift.
I didn't want to accidentally, you get in the way and they put those drywall up, and next thing you know, you're on a version of like a CIS.
Yeah, where Dan's embedded in the drywall and you find him years later. Yeah.
Where is that guy? I don't know, but something smells. That reminds me of, what was the Bob Rivers song. There's something stuck up in the chimney, and I don't know what it is.
Oh, I don't think I've heard
But it's
that.
been there all month long.
Oh, God.
And it turns out to be Santa stuck in the
Claus.
chimney.
Ooh, yuck. Yow.
Yeah, more beneficial news that you can use there. Coming up in just a moment, this date. I did?
I think he's deliberately.
I did.
I think he's deliberately forgetting this.
I'm sorry. I forgot that I had back-to-back stories. Columbus Blue Jackets scored in the first 15 seconds of the game last night. And then they had a 2-0 lead, I believe it was. And they played Ottawa, right? Ottawa had tied it just before the end of regulation. They go to a shootout, and the Blue Jackets, they still get points. But, boy, they'd rather have a win than getting the points. Soccer and hockey, they do that like extra side to scoring. So you can have a really bad record, but if you're tallying all kinds of points, you get into the playoffs and that sort of thing. But now they almost let everybody but I think 7 teams in to the playoffs. So
I saw the coach of the Jackets yesterday saying they're bringing up a lot of minor leaguers, and that's how they're going to finish the season. So they're looking to the future. That might mean some guys that are veterans are going to be looking for jobs.
And that comes to a point where if you're a season ticket holder, it's like, man, I spent all my money, especially if you're a first-year season ticket holder. I spent all my money on this, and watching them, I rarely see them win.
And you put Dan Ramey in there for crying out loud.
Precisely. What's that kid know? And, yeah, you shouldn't talk about my son like that, but
I would have said Junior on that.
I could see him on skates. That wouldn't be a pretty sight. All right, coming up, this date in history next.
You want to do this one today, or you want me to do it?
I did it yesterday, but I can do it today.
I can do it again?
I'll do it as a favor to you, my friend. Litter Quality Propane, custom tank colors and wraps. Find out how a propane tank can be beautiful at litterpropane.com.
As a professional race car driver, I live for speed, power, and performance on and off the track. That's why I use the Dixie Chopper, the world's fastest lawnmower. Race into your local dealership today and test drive a new Dixie Chopper.
For transportation options in Ross County, call Ross County Health District's Mobility Management Team, 740-779-9652.
Our mobile banking app is changing the way we bank. Things are getting easier, transactions are getting safer, and you have access 24/7. All the functionality of banking you're used to, made easier to use, anywhere, anytime, and more secure than ever. Simple, seamless, safe. Download our Kingston National Bank mobility app today.
The Litter Media Wayback Machine takes us to 44 BC.
Julius Caesar, dictator of Rome, is stabbed to death in the Roman Senate house by 60 conspirators led by Marcus Junius Brutus, et al. Brute, you two, and Cassius on March 15th, which is today. The day later became infamous as the Ides of March. Now, this painting,
Dun, 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 dun.
no, not that group, is by Vincenzo Camuccini. He's probably Italian, wouldn't you say?
Probably.
But, yeah, that happened on this date in 44 BC. So if you've ever heard the talk about the Ides of March, that's where it came from.
Was it Laugh-In that used to have the person wearing the toga and standing there and saying, "Lend me your ears," and they threw a bunch of ears at him?
Probably.
Was it Laugh-In?
That sounds like a Laugh-In
I
thing.
can't remember who the actor was that was doing it. Laugh-In, way before Saturday Night Live.
Yeah. At times, for its time, kind of considered risque. And
Yeah. Sock it to me, baby.
Sock it to me, baby. But,
Goldie Hawn with body paint.
But as I don't think LBJ was ever on there, but Richard Nixon was on there as a candidate running for president.
Yeah.
So
And even he said, "Sock it to me,
Yeah,
baby."
sock it to me, baby.
And they did.
They did some years later, right?
All right, that's it for today's program. That's it for the week. And if you want to see some of the things that we've done in the previous days, you can always find it here on our Facebook page video section, but also on YouTube. And, of course, throughout the day, this program will be playing again on Litter Media Radio. So, and on demand for you at all times.
Don't forget a special edition coming up Monday morning. Mike Throne of the Chamber of Commerce.
Chamber has come out with a new magazine, and this is the second edition. And I reached out to him and I said, "Hey, but I missed the first one. When was that one published?" And but this is a venture that they have with Metropolis Designs and Printing, and so we wanted to share some details not only on what they plan to do with this magazine, but have you seen the new banners downtown for the veterans? I saw one yesterday, and it's not really downtown to me, but it's in the Dora. The Dora reaches all the way over to Bridge Street, and this was on Bridge Street.
Is this like the individual veterans?
Yes.
Okay. I've seen them out in some of the rural villages, but I don't know that I've seen the ones here in town.
I know they've already got the Kenworth Truck Parade signs up, and I think they'll have Brewfest up there too and everything. So some of the things are happening downtown, but they've added veterans to this. So I want to learn more about that. So we invited Mike to join us, and I'll be at an appointment, so I'll be able to watch during the program, but I'll be able to catch up with it.
Aaron's doing that one, right?
I think so.
I know Mike.
You think you could pull it off?
No.
Okay. I'll be here.
You got to learn sometime,
I'll
right?
be here to hold
sometime.
I'll be here to hold your hand. But I think we have at least 3 special editions next week. Have one on Tuesday and also Thursday. That's the one, the headstone cleaning project in Green Lawn.
Green Lawn.
That's the one on Thursday morning. So,
And we also will be having some other guests come in soon. Reached out and talked with the Ross Chillicothe Convention and Visitors Bureau, which is together with the Majestic Theater. So I believe Lori Graves is going to be joining us to talk more about some of the acts that will be on stage this year. Very active theater lineup this year. It's going to be awesome. And reached out to Matt McGuire from District 9 of the Ohio Department of Transportation just to get ready for the construction. We visited with him the last several springs to prepare us for where those orange barrels will be, but also to get us an update on what's going on Bridge Street. I know they made a presentation to City Council this past Monday night at their meeting, so we need to get caught up to date on the latest on what's happening there. So plenty of things to see and do because it is beneficial news you can use here on Litter Media. For Aaron Glandon and Mike Smith, I'm Dan Ramey. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.